Hi there, my name is Stephanie. Welcome to my channel, Sugar High Score. Today, I am making a cake that looks like a porg from The Last Jedi. I'm super excited for you guys to see this because it's so cute.
Here we go. I'm going to start by trimming off the caramelization from the top of the cake, and then I'm cutting the cake in half. The cake flavor I'm using today is banana cake. I will share the recipe on my website, which you can find the links to in the description box. I create a buttercream dam with my Swiss meringue buttercream, and then we fill it with vanilla bean cream cheese filling. My helper Shelby is filling the layers for me. I'm giving the cake a coating in buttercream, which will help pick up any crumbs, and then it goes into the refrigerator to chill. Before I can stack my cakes, I need to cut away my foam core. I don't always have the right size cake board, so I just make my own as needed. I insert milkshake straws for support. It's important that you measure the height of the cake and cut the straws all to the same height and then insert them into the cake. I've melted some candy melts, which will help secure the cake to my cake board. And then I begin stacking the cakes. I add more straws for support, and a sharpened dowel goes right through the center. I wanted this video to be a how-to, but I messed up. Mistakes happen all the time when you're making cake, and on this cake I made it a little bit too tall. This is one of those good mistakes though, because all I had to do was remove a layer of cake and restack it. I then took the extra piece of cake, I cut it in half, and then stuck it to the sides of the cake. I trimmed the side pieces, which are our porg's wings, and I gave it another coating in buttercream and then popped it back into the refrigerator to chill. After chilling the cake, I used an enlarged photo of a porg, held it up to my cake, and began carving. I continue trimming and cutting away the cake until I have the perfect shape of the porg. It gets another coating in buttercream, and then I put it back into the refrigerator to chill again. I get my template back out and mark where the eyes and mouth are, and I begin carving the face. And I continue carving until I think it's perfect. If you carve away too much cake, don't worry, you can always put a little bit back. And then more buttercream, and back into the refrigerator. I've rolled my fondant out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. I drape it over my rolling pin and place it onto the cake. My main concern with the fondant is getting the front of our porg smooth. The back will not be seen because we're covering it with modeling chocolate. I gently pull the fondant towards the back of the cake and smooth out the front. I pulled the fondant together in the back and cut away the excess with my kitchen scissors. The back was not pretty, but I don't even care because it's getting covered and no one will even see it. Since this cake is an odd shape, I take an extra piece of fondant, dust it with cornstarch, and use it to smooth out the fondant. And I cut away the excess on the bottom edge. Using a modeling tool, I make scratches in the fondant to make it look like the porg's feathers. And then I use the same tool to create the holes for the nose. Our porg is really starting to come to life now. I use my template again to mark where the mouth is and use my tool to press into the fondant to make it more defined. For the colored feathers, I have rolled out a piece of modeling chocolate. I drape it over the cake and use my X-Acto knife to cut it to the right shape. I'm doing this in panels and attaching them to the cake with edible glue. And I continue until I've covered the entire back and the sides of our porg. We get our modeling tools back out and begin scratching more feathers into the cake. Now onto my favorite part, the painting. The paint I'm using is food coloring gel mixed with a little drop of vodka. If you don't like using alcohol in your cake, you can always use lemon extract instead. I continue painting the orange feathers around the eyes and begin the gray. For the gray feathers, I added in some different shades of light and dark paint. And I continued painting our porg all around the sides and the back. I then used a small paintbrush to paint inside the nose and the mouth just to make it a little bit more defined. Onto the eyes. Using my hands, I rolled out 2 balls of black fondant into the eye shape, and Shelby is using a clay extruder to make the perfect log of fondant to outline the eyes. We brush a little glue inside the eye and press the eyeballs into place. And then we line the eyes with a white log of fondant. Next, we're giving our porg's eyes some shine. To make the glaze, mix a teaspoon of corn syrup and a teaspoon of vodka, and brush it onto the eyes to make it nice and shiny. Next up is the tail. I mold a triangle shape out of modeling chocolate and I attach it to the cake. I scratch it up and then paint it to match the gray feathers. The final detail. To create the feet, I rolled out a log of orange modeling chocolate. I used my modeling tool to score it and mold it into the proper shape. For the toenails, I rolled out a very thin piece of black fondant and then I cut it into small sections and then glued them onto the feet.
My PORG cake is complete. I love it so much. It's so adorable. I feel like I have my own PORG right in my house. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, you can also find my recipes on my website at sugarhighscore.com. Also, look for me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. See you next time. Bye.